Do you look at brands like Liquid Death or Stanley or Lululemon and wonder what they do to be able to get this cult-like following of customers who are eagerly waiting for the latest drop, want to consume their content and just proudly represent their brand? Well, the first step is critical, and if that sounds interesting to you, let's go ahead and dive into things. Hello, my name is Emma Shermer-Tamir. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Marketing by Emma, and since 2016, we've worked with over 1,500 brands from all over the world, helping them find success online. And one of the things that differentiates the brands with cult-like followings from just the brand that had the best price or the highest reviews or was the first. What is my camera doing right now? I have a really cool AI camera, which most of the time functions great, and sometimes I make hand gestures that make it think that I want to autofocus and would make all of us sick if I didn't catch it. So luckily I did. Let's get back to the topic at hand, which is what can you do to be able to set the price that you want, to compete beyond reviews, to really create something that's so much more than just a product that serves a role. And one of the key pieces of that in your branding journey, and we've talked about brand identity and how important that is. We've talked about strategic positioning. And if you haven't watched, I will link both of those videos in the eye. But one of the other really critical pieces is understanding who your customer is. Who is your customer? Who are you talking to? Who are you not talking to? And that's huge because so many times when I'm talking with companies and I ask them, who is your target customer? Their answer is, well, really anyone between the ages of 10 and 100. That is not giving me much to work with because what a 10-year-old cares about and what a 30-year-old cares about and what a 100-year-old cares about are going to likely be very different things. Not only that, but the kind of cultural references that I have, the ways that I'm actually consuming my content, the things that I expect from a brand, all of those things are going to be affected by me as a customer and my relationship with whatever it is that I'm engaging with. And so it's very important from early stages to have a crystal clear idea of who you're selling to. And the more clear you can be about that, the better. And so what is that? That is building something that we in the marketing world call customer avatar. Now that sounds fancy schmancy, but essentially what it is it's really building out a profile of who your target customer is. And you don't always have to have one. In fact, it's pretty common to have a few because your customers might fall into a few buckets. But you really want to get super specific with building this out. So you don't want to fall into generalities. You want to give these people names. You want to give these people a wardrobe. You want to give these people interests. You want to give these people cares and the problems that they're dealing with and the social media accounts that they follow and the shows that they watch and all of these different details. Because ultimately what you're going to be trying to do, whether you're on social media or putting together a product page or trying to figure out how to handle a certain customer service issue, is you are trying to facilitate a conversation and a dialogue that's going to have a positive outcome for everyone involved. And so in order to do that effectively, you have to know who your customer is, because at the end of the day, our favorite topic, the thing that we always care about the most, is ourselves. So people don't actually care about your brand. They care about themselves and how you are going to either help them solve a problem or help make their life better, and the way that you're going to make them feel, and all of those details matter most. And the more that you can put your customer front and center, the better job that you'll do at being able to kind of leverage yourself above having to compete on things like price and reviews, as I was talking about earlier. And particularly in this world where advertising costs are high and where it's really difficult and really expensive to get those eyeballs, this is even more important because this will actually help you target your advertising more effectively and then convert it better because you're bringing it, you have a clear idea of who you're going after. So you're bringing in more high value, highly targeted traffic. And then because you're so zoned in, you're going to be able to convert way more of that traffic. So this is a very, very important step, but I know it can also be a little bit overwhelming, which is why I've put together a worksheet for you. And this worksheet has a couple of parts to it. So part of the worksheet are some really great AI prompts that will actually help you begin to build out customer avatars for you. You're of course still going to need to have some general information, but this is a great starting point because, at the end of the day, it can be very intimidating to stare at a blank page. So this can give you something to work with, but I do not want you to stop there. I do not want you to rely exclusively on what the AI is giving you. I want to also really encourage you to invest that extra time and effort to investigating and building out that profile in more depth and going to places like TikTok and YouTube and Reddit and Quora and Facebook, and maybe even engaging with some people face to face to begin to really build out a very, very clear idea of who your customer is. And then I want you to share that with everyone on your team. Anybody that needs to be creating something that's going to be customer facing, anybody that's going to be engaging directly with a customer should have these things in mind so that they can speak in the language that the customer wants to speak, so that they can address the concerns and fears that a customer has in a way that feels very natural and inviting and reassuring, or whatever it is that a customer is expecting out of the brand that they are doing business with. So the second part of this worksheet also has a lot of different questions for you to ask and consider as you're building these out. And then be mindful of the fact that just like people, because your customer avatars are representations of real people, they're going to grow and change over time. They're going to be concerned about different things. So if there's maybe something really big that's happening in the world, do your customers expect you to have a stance on that? Do your customers have new fears as a result of that? Do your customers have new needs that you can accommodate or speak to as a result of that? All of those things are what are elements that you want to be considering. Additionally, if you do a really great job of this and you build a brand that lasts, then you might actually be growing up with your customers. So as your customers go through the different stages of life, how can you continue to meet them where they are? So a great example of this would actually be Lego, which Lego we know is a children's toy first and foremost. Many kids play with Legos when they're younger. But also lots of adults continue to have an interest in Legos as they either just feel nostalgic for their childhood, or maybe they have children, or they're looking for a hobby to do. And so as a result of that, Lego has actually released a lot of sets that are really more geared towards adults who like to Lego. So most recently, this is actually something that I've even seen at Costco. They have these beautiful centerpieces that are floral arrangement like Lego creations that are geared towards adults who love Legos and maybe want a fun and different way to spice up their tables, either for the holidays or just because. And so thinking about where your customers are, and maybe that's not the same place as where they were when you first started your business. So continue to make sure that you're staying up to date with this effort, that it's not just something stagnant that you do once and you let it collect dust and you never return to it again. So the customer avatar fits really well in with the brand identity work that you should also be doing. So be sure to check out that video if you haven't already. And when you figure out those two pieces together, then you can really create this strong relationship and conversation that can just unlock worlds of growth and opportunity. Last but not least, if you would like some help figuring out how to tailor your content to your dream customers, I lead workshops, and I'm also happy to work directly with you if you would like us to just take this off your plate. So please feel free to reach out at our website, marketingbyemma.com. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Bye.